Hoolalali and welcome back. It's Fight Sports Uncovered with me, your host Mark Joubert, and it's been a while. We've been away. We've been on an enforced, let's call it a leave of absence. I'm going to just leave that there. We're going into, what is it now, week 8 of lockdown here in South Africa, and we've been fortunate. We've got our media passes. We're getting out and about, and for our very first interaction since the lockdown started, we've decided to touch base with one of the guys that's very much responsible for the upliftment and the building of not just MMA in this country. He's also very much involved in kickboxing right here in South Africa. He is the former national coach of the National MMA team. He also sits very highly within Kickboxing South Africa and currently is the National Team Manager for the national team, the MMA national team here in South Africa, JD du Plessis. And we're joined, well, he's joining us. We've come to him. We're in his home gym. This is the place where he's been doing most of his fitness and training work from, because remember, gyms are not allowed to be open under the current levels of lockdown as we have them at the moment. So the man sitting to my right, JD du Plessis, welcome to the show, JD, and thanks so much for allowing us into your garage.
Mark, no, thanks for you guys coming out, and it's this really humbling experience. I love it. So thanks for coming.
Yeah. Absolutely. I mean, one of the big things that we've striving to do in terms of Fight Sports Uncovered is to try and get out to as many of the local gyms, showcase what it is that they're doing. Unfortunately, we're in your garage, so we can't exactly see what you do at the gym. We can see that you're into potting and into sort of indoor plants and things like that. And you've now laid out quite a setup here. And I assume this is all for your daily Zoom sessions, especially bearing in mind that you're the head coach at Nova.
Yeah, Mark. Well, this is what it led to. You know, everybody's under lockdown. Meter and a half space between each other, and this is where I run my classes from, and it's actually cool.
It's cool.
So the first couple of times it was very different, you know, standing in front, talking to yourself, you know, everybody on a small screen, but now you kind of get used to it, and it's a different type of personality that comes out, and I'm actually enjoying it now.
So JD, I mean, obviously from what you've been saying there, this whole concept of Zoom training, bearing in mind that combat sports is very much a touchy-feely sport and a contact sport, is Zoom meetings and Zoom training sessions are not part of the new normal.
No, it can't be the new normal. It's very great for fitness. I believe girls should jump on this, you know, especially from the combat side, because all the girls, they want to learn a little bit of boxing and stuff like that. But this is an ideal time for jump on board. It's a good time for the guys to just stay fit. They need to, and of course the mind needs to train as well. So it won't be the normal, no.
I suppose we've now got to sort of talk about sort of the serious issue around the impacts that this lockdown is having on yourself and many, many others like yourself. And that impact is very, very simple. Your gym has been closed now for going on 8 weeks. You are not earning the kind of revenues that you were earning as a person whose entire livelihood was sort of wrapped around your gym and offering these kinds of services to your members. Many gyms have gotten in contact with me personally and have told me that they have now literally closed down. They do not know when they're going to come back. They do not know if they ever can come back. Your situation, I know we've been talking a lot in the build-up to this discussion. You are in very much a similar situation. Times are tough. People are not earning incomes, and as a result of them not earning incomes, they don't have anything to bring back into the nice-to-haves, and that's gyms, that's training, etc. How tough has this been on you?
No, it's starting to be really tough. You know, the ripple effect coming down from the company can't pay the salary for the people, for the person can't pay their bills, the bills can't be paid, and I'm part of those bills, and the ripple effect down is just tough. You know, 2-3 people a day are cancelling their contracts, and you know, it's at the end, I'm also at that point where you're like, okay, I'm going to have to either close down or come up with something else to make sure it carries on. So it is tough. It is very tough. The sooner the better. You know, if we can get to that level where we can train again, you can get more exposure again, you can be on social media again, you can punt it very much, or you can punch it really hard, and you can try and build it up. But even after the lockdown, people are going to try and get on their feet again, and your gym is going to be one of the last things, you know, or training combat sports is going to be one of the last things that they come back to. So your serious trainers or your serious students will always come back. But the nice to have, the once a blue moon trainers, you know, I just want to do it because of the fun of it, they're going to fade away. So I'm excited for afterwards, but I'm also very negative actually. And it's tough for a coach. It's very tough. You try and motivate the people not to quit. You know, there was a stage where I even said, okay, I'll half my prices. You know, you just half the prices. And there's still people that said, I can't afford it. Yeah. And now I'm talking about people that's got decent jobs, lawyers, doctors, you know, they've got decent jobs, decent income, and even they can't sustain that anymore. So it's tough on everybody.
Let's talk the detail, if I may. The impact on your staff. Surely there's been a major impact in terms of the people that you employ in the gym. I mean, has that now also, I mean, have some of those people been personally impacted by this highly reduced income stream?
Yeah, they're definitely, you know, a big part of my income is schools, you know, 4-year-olds, 5-year-olds, you know. We love working with kids, and now the schools are closed. So immediately they cut all the extramural activities, and I'm one of them. So they cut it, they don't pay, nothing. There's some of the parents that understand and they still pay, but it's such a small percentage. So everybody down, they don't get the money that what they need, and it's got a big impact on all of us.
I mean, the big question is a lot of guys are telling me impact on other coaches, your other trainers that you have at the gym, because obviously one person becomes very difficult to manage all of those classes. The likes of cleaners, the likes of people that just maintain general maintenance and all that kind of stuff, general managers of the gym. A lot of those guys have had to be let go at the moment just so that the gyms can keep operational and keep alive.
Yeah, I was actually speaking to one of my friends this morning, and he can maintain all the expenses except the rent of the place. And your guys that you're renting from, they don't want to show a little bit of grace. They just want the money, so they can't afford it. And then by doing that, they either have to close completely or look for other places. And in a time like this, you can't find another place now. You know, nobody signs new leases in any way. So that is very tough. You know, we need to help each other. We need to like put our pride a little bit aside, and where a rent, say it's 10,000 rand, just come a little bit down and help that person, you know.
Have you been getting support from your landlord?
Yeah, I have. So I'm one of the fortunate ones that it's nice because he's been impacted, everybody's been impacted, and he's very understandable. So I'm very lucky.
But I suppose the question for him or her, whoever they may be, is that how much longer are they prepared, or how much longer can they hold out to be able to pass that benefit down to you? And I suppose when they run out, they're going to run out with you.
That's such a good question, because I've been thinking about it as well. As soon as they run out, their money gets dried up, they're going to want more money. And then, yeah, again, I won't be able to afford it.
100%. Well, I suppose it's a tough situation to find yourself in. I think all of the conversations that I've been having with gym owners, with athletes over the last number of weeks have all been pointing to one point and one point only. They are struggling. They are absolutely desperate at this point in time. We are really needing a little bit more leadership in terms of some sort of direction in terms of when the lockdown is going to open up, when these gyms are going to be allowed to open up. But by all indications, it seems as though level 2 or level 1 is the only time that full contact training facilities may be allowed to open up. Let's hope it opens up slightly earlier, or there's going to be a lot more gyms and a lot more people that are going to be impacted the longer this lockdown goes on for. We're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, we're going to talk a little bit more about the macroeconomics and everything that's going on in the bigger picture of combat sports here in South Africa. My guest, JD du Plessis. We'll be right back.
Many people long for success. They desire to do something with their lives, to make a difference in society, to become famous, or to become great. We all have the want to move from ordinary to extraordinary, to make the leap from good to great, to turn the seed of greatness that is in us into a fruitful field, and to fulfill the call of God upon our lives. From Reverend Dr. Chris Oyakhilome comes this new and riveting book, The Power of Your Mind. Do you want to do something extraordinary with your life? See, God has given you an excellent tool to use in your journey of greatness. It is called your mind. Learn how to walk in divine excellence through the power of a renewed mind. Get your copy of The Power of Your Mind today.
Introducing the new, fresh, and exciting Rhapsody of Realities app 3.0. The Messenger Angel Rhapsody of Realities just got a new updated app for reading Rhapsody daily articles. Enjoy reading and listening to your Rhapsody on the go while taking advantage of these amazing features. Brand new design. Enjoy the new design built to take advantage of the latest technologies to make your app experience awesome. It's simpler and easier to use. With just one click, you have access to the article for the day. It's that easy. Sync notes. Pin down moments of divine inspiration while studying the devotional and sync them to the cloud to be available anywhere, anytime. A new interactive store. Visit the store and get all books by Reverend Dr. Chris Oyakhilome for people of all ages and download them to your library. Store your favorite books in an easy access folder. Enjoy unlimited access when you upgrade to our premium subscription. Gain access to the complete package of Rhapsody of Realities every month. This includes the entire month's devotional on the go with free audio devotional add-ons. Track your reading habits daily with our automated calendar and identify unread days for the devotional. Read further studies right within the app. Download the new Rhapsody mobile app today for free and be inspired anytime and everywhere on the go. Available on the Google Play Store.
Welcome back, Fight Sports Uncovered. And if you missed the first part of the show, we're with JD du Plessis, a gym owner as well as National MMA Team Coach. And we're in his garage, believe it or not. This has been his home gym for the last number of weeks, where he's been doing a whole lot of Zoom classes to many of his members from his gym. And I assume as well to many of the individuals of the South African National MMA Team. And JD, I want to talk a little bit more about the national team at the moment. National team, you are the National Team Manager. You formerly the National Team Coach. You got a lot of experience having taken the team to the World Championships. Globally speaking, combat sports, with the exclusion of that play stuff, what is it, WWE and the UFC, everyone else is on hiatus. Yeah. IMAF, everything to do with amateur combat sports is currently on lockdown, if I can call it that. As a team manager, that's got to be pretty tough for you in terms of keeping the athletes motivated, because it's so easy to roll up on the couch, a bit of Netflix, a little bit of DSTV, popcorn, chocolate cake, that kind of stuff. How do you keep motivated?
That's true. You know, the motivation is really tough. The questions is even more tough because they think the president is your best friend. So they're expecting, when can we train? Why can't we train? Especially, why can't we train, And unfortunately, the government said no, so we have to follow the government. Of course, we have to. But luckily, at this stage, we've got people like JP Kruger, that's like a real motivation for them. And he's putting small video clips of training on the groups. And the guys are very interactive on it. People like Peace Nkupane, he's really like motivating. He was the captain last year. To me, he's still the captain of the team. He's keeping in touch with everybody, keeping them motivated. He's messaging me every day, and so it's very interactive at this stage. The team is not final yet, so the people that's really doing their part now will be the final team, so people still have to have a good attitude, and luckily for that, they still get being motivated because they know if they're going to be on the couch, they're not going to be in the team.
Obviously, the big question for me in terms of our previous conversations is the one about making sure that the team are fight ready. Now, lockdown most certainly is messing with those plans because no one can get fight ready in this space. I mean, looking at your environment here, I can't get fight ready rolling around with myself in the garage. But how and what are the plans in place from MMA South Africa, from yourself, from the coaching team, from yourself as team management, to actually get these athletes into fighting fit mode, because any day now, it might be end of lockdown. We can only hope.
Yeah.
And from that point onwards, we then await what the global sort of environment and what the global organizations are going to start saying in terms of all of these postponed and potentially delayed events, which will then hopefully help and maybe get the World Championships back on track.
100%. These guys, the sooner the better, of course. The sooner the better. We wanted the All Africans to be like trials for them, and so that there's some of the new guys that doesn't understand what the World Championships is about. They're big shots here in South Africa, but they don't realize overseas when they come, there's some main people over there. So they need to train, they need to be active, they need to do their self-studies. But the main thing is, of course, the cage time, a thing of ring rust. A lot of people believe in it, a lot of people don't.
Dominic Cruz definitely doesn't believe in it.
He doesn't believe in it. Why? But to me, it's not so much that, it's the competitive side. Walking into a competition, your nerves, your brain, how does that play into part with it? So to me, I must be honest, if this carries on for 1 or 2 more months, think twice before you go to the World Championships. Think very long, think hard. Rather wait for next year.
I mean, is that sort of your view on the South African team?
Yes.
Because looking at that initial sort of list of potential final athletes for the team, a lot of those youngsters have very little experience.
That's the thing, And last year we took a guy that had no senior experience. He did well, but he got beaten up. And never again will I take anybody like that overseas. Never, 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 never. I would rather quit as part of MMA South Africa before that happens again. Last year I was forced into it. This year it will not happen. So if you have a decent, well-rounded skill, then by all means, please go. And then prove yourself, of course, overseas. But you can't compare like Franco Meyer, he's got almost 20 fights. Peace has got almost 20 fights. People like Cassandra's got more than 10 fights. Now, those guys are only starting to realize now how good the world champions are, and they are already training in a different level than anybody else. Now, this guy that's got 1-0 or 2-0 fights, he doesn't realize. He thinks he's still a main Mac. He needs to humble himself, know what it's about, listen to his coaches, listen to the team managers, and then build himself up. Don't go overseas, spend 30,000, 40,000 Rand for the experience. You don't go to a World Championships for experience.
JD, you've just posed a number of incredibly interesting concepts there, and a lot of questions that I have. And the biggest one for me is, you talk about a lot of these athletes being 0-1 and maybe 0-2, 0-3, not having a lot of top flight experience, let alone any world experience or big tournament experience. And then we hear that in terms of the team, the South African team setup, there is a national team that will ultimately be selected, and then there's a president's team. What's the point of the president's team? Because they don't seem to go out and represent the country at any tournaments, because there doesn't seem to be any sort of next level down tournaments. And more importantly, what, as a board member of MMA South Africa and the national team manager, why and when is MMA South Africa going to start making it mandatory for those guys to be fighting a lot more often at the local promotions? Because the more I see what's happening at the local promotion level, it's the same fighters, same gyms, month in, month out on certain promotions, and on the others, pretty much the same. But we're not getting to see this potential crop of our top MMA athletes. And I suppose this works for kickboxing, Muay Thai, across the board. But we're not seeing them forced to go and get this experience, up their game, get knocked out, avoid the knockout, all that kind of stuff, because it's in getting knocked out that we learn more about how not to get knocked out, surely.
Yeah. So in the beginning, last year at the AGM, I was chosen as head of the team, team coach. So I had to choose my team that I was willing to work with, because you have to choose people that can, bring something different to the team. This year I was overruled completely, and the team was already chosen. The coaches was already set into place, and I didn't even know about it. So the people that's chosen now, to me, it's a real buddy-buddy thing. a real, yes, they're not good enough for the national team, but they're good enough for the presidential team. So the presidential team is, you know, if you're happy to be in the presidential team, then be happy in the presidential team. But you're going to lose. You are going to lose because you are in the B, C team. You're not the A team. To me, there's supposed to be only 5 people being chosen to go to World Championships. MMA South Africa has to at least, you know, do something from their side and pay for these 5 people. And they are definitely going to get a place, you know. Franco Meyer, he fell out last year against the Prince of Bahrain's right-hand guy. Cassandra Leroux, the year before, got a podium. Pizon Kupane lost against the world champion this year. You know, that's legitimate losses. You know, that's legitimate losses. So people like them, they to me, they're only legitimate guys. These other guys that I don't even know of, they should think twice. Their coaches should think twice, and the national coaches, William Oberholz, JP Kruger, must think really hard and strong before they teach these guys. Because at the end, I'm going to sit with the list, and I'm going to choose. But to me, there's supposed to be only 5 people going.
Because surely, we've got to take our best. I mean, this is South Africa on the world stage. I mean, for us to go back to the World Championships, 2nd year in a row, and have every single one of our athletes obliterated in their very first fights, okay? And please correct me if I'm wrong, not one of our athletes got into a second fight at last year's World Championships.
Only Franco Meyer did.
Okay, so
Yeah.
with the exception of Francois Meyer, but he's got experience. He's been to what? This is his 3rd or his 4th World Championship.
This will be his 4th, yeah.
So you expect him to go a little bit further. So
Yeah.
even that, you know, that's what I'm saying. So much so that it didn't even reflect on me to say that he got that far down the line. So surely, if this is a national, a world championship representing our nations, I mean, we've dropped from number 2 in the world 3 years ago to number 9.
Yes.
Okay, we are just above France, so at 10. I've made it very, very clear in the past. I expect us to drop below France on the simple basis that France has now had MMA legalized.
Yes.
Okay, which means, as it is an illegal sport, okay, and they were that good.
Yeah.
Imagine what they're going to be like now. I think we're going to drop out of the top 10 unless we get our structures right. And I think what you're saying is making a lot of sense to me, only a matter of time.
Yeah, you know, and if we don't bring our size and the athletes don't pull up their socks, you know, we are definitely going to fall out of the top 10. Doesn't matter if we send 100 people, you know, we're going to fall down. And in Europe, those guys train like professionals. You know, they train like professionals because their end goal is Bellator, UFC, One Championships, whatever. That is their goal. In South Africa, they're doing it for fun. They're not doing it because they want to be number 1. And I think if that mind change like switches to they want to be the best in the world, you know, like a Dricus du Plessis mentality, like a Don Madge mentality, you know, then it will change MMA in general. But then the coaches, of course, because the coaches in South Africa has got what I like to call the South African mentality, the South African issues. You know, me and Coach Richie Kwan talks about it quite a lot, where people aren't willing to adapt, to change. Yeah. They know their thing and they're not willing to adapt and change. And it's a very arrogant thing. You know, it's a very pride thing. They know it all. That's all. You know, they know it all. They're the best coach. Nobody can teach them, you know, and I think as soon as we start opening that mindset up a little bit more of, listen, we can learn from everybody and anybody, then, yeah, things will change.
A lot of very interesting points that you raised there, and obviously stuff for another show. Final thoughts from you in terms of the young athletes out there listening to this, going to watch all of this. What would you be saying to them? Should you be saying to them? What should they be thinking right now in lockdown to keep motivated? Because for them, it's becoming tougher and tougher to keep on looking at a screen. It's becoming tougher and tougher to wake up in the morning and motivate themselves. What's your advice to these young athletes?
Yeah, they definitely need to believe in themselves, believe they can be the best. You know, keep in connection with their coaches. Like you just said, it's tough to watch TV all the time, watch YouTube all the time, but it's still fun. But stay in connection with your coach, stay in connection with your community. Motivate each other and then feed from each other. You know, you have to try and do that, and especially, you know, be there for each other. You have to support each other in this time. If you're low, I'm going to be high. You know, if I'm low, you're going to be high. So we need to help each other in this tough times. We need to.
Well, Jerry du Plessis, thanks so much for inviting us through to your garage. It's been an honor and a privilege to sit here in your training space, the hallowed space where you've been conducting your Zoom classes. May Nova go from strength to strength. We wish you all the success and all the luck in the coming days and weeks. For you guys out there, thanks so much for tuning in. Thanks so much for watching. A lot of questions that we can unpack out of this. A lot more questions that can come out of so many of the answers that JD's given us. But we're just starting to scratch the surface. Thanks for your time. We'll see you next week. Until then, protect yourselves at all times. We're out.